Hey, welcome to another episode of the Not Scrum Done podcast. I'm your co-host, Andriana Marshall, and that's my amazing co-host.
Grand Scrum Master Scott, everyone. Greetings.
Today, we're going to be talking about a topic that doesn't get talked about as much as it should be in the Agile world, but it's fundamental to us, and we think everyone, Scrum Masters, product owners, and anyone on the development team should understand. And I would also say that even a scrum master should be helping management understand the differences so that they can actually help you instead of hinder you. Today, we're going to be talking about the difference between a project and a product mindset. I see a lot of people stumble on this in everyday practice. It's good for us to go over the fundamentals and talk about the differences so that you can help your teams get better. Let's start by defining both a project and a product. A project is a temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product, service, or result. And that definition comes from the Project Management Institute. And for product, we got our definition from the Scrum Guide, which is a product is a vehicle to deliver value. It has a clear boundary, known stakeholders, well defined users or customers. A product could be a service, a physical product, or something more abstract. High level, a project has an end date. It's going to come to an end, and then we expect X result or product or service. Well, a product, we're expecting it to last much longer than a year, 2 years, or so forth. We want to continue adapting, continue making money off that product. Let's also talk about how success is measured in a different way when you have the project mindset versus the product mindset. So, with the project mindset, success looks like being within scope, cost, and time. That would be the project management triangle, if you're familiar with that. I think this can be a little problematic when you're in the workplace. For example, I had an experience where we released this new feature and we had millions of users, but not even 10% of the users were using that new feature. And someone on the team did say that we completed it, right? That should count as success. And that becomes problematic because now we're not taking the time to understand our users and digging deeper. We're just checking a box and saying, success, great, it's done. It was in scope and in time and it was in budget. But the lack of usage from our customers is a story that we should be diving deep into. And because we're already calling it success, nobody's going to look into it deeper. And I think that takes us, Scott, to the product mindset, which talks about usage frequency as an important metric to track. So, Scott, do you want to talk to us about the product mindset?
Absolutely. Just to elaborate a little bit on what you said, Andriana, when we think about a project mindset, also one thing I want to highlight is the project is not done until all the tasks are done. Now that has a inside out view of the world. Project mindset view the world from scope, cost, and time. That is the lens in which you're looking at things. I was a former project manager, so I perfectly get it. Now, however, over on the product mindset, we're looking at things that like, are we making any money off this thing? What kind of revenue are we getting? So hopefully you have some type of data. It could be NPS, Net Promoter Score, that kind of gives you an idea. Or are the customers enjoying this? How do they like it? Okay, that's one thing. They like it, but looking at it from a business standpoint, because if you're not for profit, every business is in business to make what? Money, make revenue. So are we making any money off this thing? And if not, we need to sit in the room and talk about, hey team, do we need to continue building this based upon the data? We're not making any money. Yeah, people love it to death, but we're not making any money on it. So why are we doing this if you're a for-profit organization? And then we're looking at customer lifetime value. And that's something, Andriana, I've been looking at lately. As you and I both have taught an awful lot of students in our classes, teaching one time, and we don't really do a good job of taking them thinking about the customer life cycle. What about the next class? And organizations are thinking about the same thing. Once you get on an Apple product, for example, if you start early on Apple products, you're probably going to be using Apple products for the rest of your life. So that would be customer lifetime value. So we thinking like Apple. Okay, what products can we make and provide for you so that we can have something on your arm, something in your ear, and now they got something for your eyes. I'm sure they're thinking about what they're going to make next. Now, the next one is usage frequency. How often are our customers using this thing? I'm thinking about an app in this case. So I want you to think about all the apps you have downloaded on your phone. Think about all the apps on your phone and the ones particularly that you don't even use anymore. Do you realize that some companies still have to pay for that? It's called maintenance costs. So if you're a company, you got to make that decision. people not even using this thing anymore. Why don't we trash this? Why don't we hit that delete button and get rid of this? And then we're talking about user retention and then cost savings. So not all initiatives are about making money. It could be to save money. We can save $1 million by doing this. We can save $100 by doing this. And it could be a cost savings feature there. So just whatever you do, we're thinking about, okay, this is our goal. Now at the end of that goal, have we achieved our goal based upon what we set out to do? If it's revenue, we make more money, great. If it's cost savings, did we save? Great. If not, we need to figure out what we need to do to get to our goal.
Great explanation. To add to your example of an app, with the project mindset, the team is tasked with developing an app and launching it in 6 months. And as long as they launch its success, and again, somebody has to pay for maintenance, but imagine an app that never has any new features. How messy would that be? An app that doesn't care about their one-star reviews, a bunch of deletions. Yeah, you succeeded, but now you have no users because you never listened to their feedback, you never updated the app. And that is the difference between the focus and the product mindset is on creating an app that will continuously meet user needs with ongoing updates based on user feedback and changes in market trends. Let's talk about the 7 benefits to having a product mindset. And the first one is focus on value delivery. A product mindset prioritizes delivering value to customers continuously. Instead of focusing on project completion, teams work iteratively to enhance the product based on customer feedback and changing market conditions. I talked a little bit earlier about the feature where less than 10% of our users were using it, and we just wanted to meet that checkbox instead of actually looking at did we deliver value and how do we enhance that feature to deliver value. There's an opportunity where we can make it better, or we can discover something new that our customers want that we haven't even thought of yet. Focusing on value is about understanding what's going on with the customer and what's going on with the marketplace. Do you have anything to add to this one?
That's a very good point, Andriana. And as you were saying that, I was thinking about how we conduct our classes, that we could just do a class from a project mindset and just say, hey, we're going to take you and teach you how to be a professional scrum master. It's a 2-day class, 3-day class, whatever it may be. That would be the project mindset of just us delivering the class. But we go way beyond that. We want to make sure you have a ton of value. In both cases, Andriana and I, we customize the class based on your needs. In the introduction, we're going to ask you, hey, what are your experiences? What do you like? What's some things you might want to learn? And then we can incorporate that in the class. Then we're going to do so, as well as all the other things that we have to teach you. Why are we doing that? To make sure that we deliver value to you. And also, we want to add some other things that you may need on top of that. And then we're going to ask for feedback after that, which is another way that, hey, we can get better by adding that feedback, Andriano.
I do think that goes into that customer centric approach. For both of us, we want to make sure that one, you get great learning. We don't want you to leave the class without understanding the concepts. And we also, at this point, you've already been in class with us, you might as well get the certification. It's not going to be that much harder. We give you a lot of resources to help you. And then on the flip side, we both give free one-on-one coaching after. So you have time where we can look at your resume, we can look at your LinkedIn. I've helped people do interview prep. Whatever you choose to do in that session, you have that with us. A little bit more with the customer centric approach, just to give you a little definition, is with a product mindset, teams are more attuned to customer needs and preferences. They actively seek feedback and incorporate it into product development, leading to higher customer satisfaction and loyalty, which you talked about as well in that last section. Do you want to add anything here?
The only thing I want to add, Andriana, is that I'm thinking about the sprint review, and I would ask at you Scrum Masters that do you have customers actually coming to your sprint reviews to see, to take a look at what you're building for them? That's one way that we can make sure it's about them in the workplace, to give you that example. Andriana.
The next one, long-term vision. Unlike projects, which have a defined start and end date, products have a continuous life cycle. A product mindset encourages teams to think long-term, considering how the product will evolve and grow over time. Scott, do you want to talk about this one?
I'm thinking about all the stuff that we got going on now. Years ago, when the World Wide Web came, WWW came out, we thought that was like, whoa, that ain't gonna work. Now here we are talking about Web 2.0, Web 3.0. Will there be a Web 4.0 and a Web 5.0? Probably. I'm thinking about 5G. We had 1G first. 2G, 3G, 5G. Hey, you think all the G's are going to be gone? No, we got to have a long term vision. I'm trying to think as far as I can in the future that we don't know what's going to come. As we building this thing, can we make it flexible enough so that we can pivot and go some other way if we need to? Now, the latest thing I'm thinking about is what Chat GPT. A lot of companies didn't see that coming, but when it came, they had to pivot and go this way. Some was able to pivot because they had new architecture and design. Others didn't think about that, didn't consider that, and they pretty much have their environment, which could have been 5 years old, is now legacy, which means it's outdated. So they're going to have to pivot and go another direction because now we have some new technology. Now, ladies and gentlemen, technology is the only thing I know in this world that will make you change. I'll say that again. Technology is the only thing in this world that will make you change. Remember, grandma said she would never text. Is she texting now? Yeah, because after a while, that phone is not going to work the way it needs to work, and grandma going to have to update the phone, right? Technology forces you to change because they not going to continue to update that brand forever. Anjana, hopefully that helps.
Yes, I'll never forget the first time my mom sent me an emoji. I was like, "Oh my gosh, how amazing." And now she's gone wild with them. But yes, technology absolutely makes you change. There are a lot of things that my mom's generation would have never thought about doing or never thought they would be doing, and it's effortless now at this point. All right, so I think that goes into the fourth one, adaptability and flexibility. Products operate in dynamic environments where requirements can change rapidly. We talked about technology and how quickly it changes. A product mindset emphasizes adaptability and flexibility, enabling teams to respond quickly to changes in market demands. I'm going to pivot a little bit. I think this also applies to your career in some sense. I mentioned previously in a video that we did talking about why I got the AWS Solutions Architect Associate certification and why I've been diving deep into the cloud. And manager was like, "This is what's coming." I already see it. Like this, being able to not just be reactive, but be thoughtful about what's going to happen and take that risk, even when it comes to your long term vision, be adventurous and be bold. I think those three things, long-term vision, adaptability, and flexibility, really go hand in hand together. Cross-functional collaboration, the fifth one. Product development requires collaboration across various functions, including development, design, marketing, and customer support. A product mindset fosters a culture of collaboration, leading to better outcomes and faster delivery. It's really hard to have a product mindset and not work with those people. You're not getting away with not being able to work with design, marketing, and customer support. You need those people to create a great product because a lot of times they are the voice of the customer and they understand what's going on. They're the first people that customers complain to, or they're the first people that customers give an idea to. And that's really important to get their feedback. Scott, do you have anything to add to this one?
Another thing I would add, Andriana, is thinking about the cross-functional collaboration. Oftentimes, we forget about human resources. Hey, why don't we add them to our collaboration? Because especially if you're in an environment where you have a lot of people coming and going, or we're growing so fast that we just need to add people, instead of just giving HR just a list of, hey, this is the job description we need, go hire this person. Why not we collaborate in terms of what we need, help HR understand what our needs are, and join HR in the hiring process? Hey, why don't the team interview that person? And I'm thinking about the principle self-management and Scrum. We used to use self-organizing. Now we have self-management. Why don't the team control some of these things, even hiring and firing of their team members? So don't forget about your HR. Yeah, marketing. Those are the normal things, but don't forget about your HR. You're going to need them at some point in time as well.
That's a great example. Sixth one, ownership and accountability. In a project mindset, once a project is completed, team members may move on to other projects. In contrast, a product mindset encourages a sense of ownership and accountability as teams are responsible for the success of the product throughout its life cycle. I did teach a team that was trying to use Scrum, but they also moved people off of projects. And it was a very awkward thing. And they were like, when that person's done with their work, they move on and there's no collaboration after that. It was so convoluted and so messy. When you have that project mindset, it's totally fine. I've completed my work. I'm off to the next. What success looks like long term, that's someone else's responsibility at that point. While in Scrum, we have accountabilities. We're all dynamically working together. we understand each role and we're cross-functional and collaborating on a daily basis. Scott, do you have anything to add to this?
Gianna, as you were saying, and I was thinking about not necessarily the evolution of development, but I will call it the evolution of development. When I first got into the industry years ago on the development team, we used to build stuff and kind of go like you said, we build stuff like a project. We build this thing, we put the app in production, people are using it. Now we go on to build the other app. Now I've seen a shift from that to teams owning the whole product lifecycle. What's the difference? Instead of us just building it and putting the app out there, now we're going to do that too, but now we're going to service it and maintenance as well. I like that better because it helps the developers think about it from a different perspective. Not just build a thing, but now I'm going to have to service the thing. So if I build it in a crappy way or in a not a holistic way, touching on some of the other things we've talked about up until now, then you just think about things differently when you're responsible for A all the way to Z, even the servicing aspect of it. Andriana. And I like that for more ownership and accountability.
The last one, continuous improvement. A product mindset embraces the idea of continuous improvement. Teams regularly reflect on their processes and outcomes, seeking ways to enhance efficiency, quality, and customer value. Immediately, what comes to my mind is there are companies that don't exist now because they refuse to continuously improve, or we can even add a few more. They refuse to be adaptable, they refuse to be customer centric, they refuse to think long term. Scott, can you give us an example of one that everyone can relate to in terms of a company that's failed because they didn't continuously improve and probably do all the other things as well?
Oh yeah, I'm thinking right off the bat. I'm thinking of a company that their colors are royal blue and gold. I'm thinking about the historic Blockbuster, the video store. Yeah, they didn't change. They had every video that you can ever want. When they came out, it was like very innovative. Blockbuster movies, place where you used to go. Typically, they had them beside the ABC store. If you're here in the United States, typically someplace local, convenient to your house, you would go to a Blockbuster, get a little video, take home and watch that video. Some of you might not have a clue what I'm, Scott, what are you talking about?
I've never seen 10,000 tapes in one store.
And I can keep them for 3 evenings.
Wow! Wow!
Wow, what a difference! Blockbuster Video!
Come discover the Blockbuster difference.
I know, right? It's a dinosaur, right? Exactly. Adriana, hopefully that helps. You want to add some more to that, Adriana? Do you remember Blockbuster?
Yes, I do remember Blockbuster. I don't need you to age me on here, Scott. I was telling someone that I remember dial-up and he almost lost it. He's really? I'm like, never mind. I'm not going to talk about this anymore. But yes, Blockbuster in particular, they still have one more location open. It's in Portland.
That's news. I thought they was gone in a museum.
Blockbuster still has one location open in Portland, and the documentary about that is ironically on Netflix. So you can go and check that out if you're interested. But what's funny is they refused to believe that Netflix was the future and thought that $50 million for Netflix was overvalued when Netflix is now worth hundreds of billions of dollars at this point. I think it's almost $300 billion today. Blockbuster decided to put things on the internet way after Netflix. They were thinking about the demands of the customer and convenience. I think the other thing is like Redbox, for example, being able to go and quickly get something and return it and have less fees. All these things really played a part in demolishing Blockbuster because they just wouldn't adapt to any of that kind of stuff until it was way too late. Continuous improvement is what they lacked because Blockbuster just went with the status quo. They also lacked the ability to adapt, be flexible, long-term vision, customer-centric, because any customer would have told you they'd rather be clicking a few buttons at home than going to a Blockbuster, waiting in line, and then have to think about the fees on top of that. Now you understand the difference between the project and product mindset and also 7 benefits of having the product mindset. We hope this helped you, informed you, and you could take this back to your company, make them better, shift what you're focusing on in terms of metrics. We'll also leave a link in the description that will provide the EBM guideline to give you some other ideas on what are some good metrics that you can use for your organization. Thanks for watching. If you made it to the end of this video, that means you have an attention span greater than a goldfish.
Be legendary, everyone, but not Scrum down. We see you in the next video. Thank you.